My name is Zhou. I'm a professor at Columbia University. I mostly work on natural language processing. Oh, yeah, thank you. Um, I specifically work on interactive systems. So back in the days, if you think about it, I did my PhD. That was like 15 years ago. Back in the days, we work on spoken dialogue systems. Now people maybe 5 years ago, it's called conversational AI. Right now, it's called AI agents. But in terms of technologies, they're actually very similar. So if you look at Sam Altman is talking about 2025 as the years of agents. So we really see that ChatGPT brings all these kind of, our generative AI technology brings that the AI can actually reason and then bring in common sense and reasoning behind the models. And that actually added up tool uses, it became what we call agents. So if we sort of look at it, we're looking into that maybe in level 4, and right now agents are just trying to mimic how humans would usually act in everyday work. So we're basically using AIs to, in some sense, to become a co-pilot or sometimes like AI employees. But we really wanted to see is maybe in a year or two, we'll see more and more of what we call AI could be innovators. They're actually super intelligence that can do things that human cannot do. Because by definitions or by original compute design, there are certain things that AI are really good at. For example, processing a lot of information at the same time, being able to combine different modalities more easily, running 24/7, which human cannot do. So some of the things that we really see is, for example, recently the Nobel Prize winning stuff on AlphaFold is one way to actually amplify AI technology's ability to find something that humans cannot find, improve the efficiencies. So what we're really looking into is we can actually condense the decades of research in natural science maybe into a year or two. So we're really looking into a lot of advancements in the future in terms of what we call AI agents for science. We can design new chemical, we can design new drugs, materials that will be introducing these new things. And plus maybe solve unsolved mysteries before, discovering new theorems that we haven't done before. So it's really about AI may be a complementary in terms of humans in various science-related areas. And finally, we're saying it's still a human world. How can AIs or AI agents work with humans in a more synchronized way? That we're creating organizations, we're creating societies that actually are more beneficial for actual humans living there, right? So for example, people probably have watched Iron Man before. So Jarvis was the AI agent or AI butler for this Iron Man. So can actually humans and AI work in a seamlessly fashion to amplify what people have already been doing within the human society? Today I would like to maybe give people a little bit of structure of how people are doing in terms of research, not only scientific discoveries, but also in terms of the startup landscape of what people have been doing in different things. So I usually like to separate them into 4 different layers. Foundation models, for example, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, many of them have been working on. They're mostly focusing on making bigger and better models that encompass everything together. While agents specifically are a little bit different from the traditional foundation models, are just predicting next word, or is it saying this is given a picture, is a cat or a dog? It's more focusing on predicting the next action. Given the context, given the history, given the environment, what is the next action as an agent needs to do in order to fulfill various different things? We're not talking about only customer service agents or sales agents, but also back office agents that use different tools and do different interesting things together. And then the agent orchestration layer is more about if you wanted to make an agent actually deployable, actually make mission critical functionalities, then you wanted to have these developer tools to support you to build agents easier, more scalable, and more robust. So then it's coming down to how do we plan some framework in order to connect different tools, some scaffolds. Maybe you wanted to fine tune specific embeddings to increase your accuracy on question answers. You might need guardrails or testing or evaluations. So I have a startup, Arclex, actually is focusing on specifically testing and evaluation automations for AI agents. Once you have the developer tools to help the engineers to become more efficient, then it comes to how can we create actual softwares and artifacts that would benefit human beings in terms of their societies or everyday use. So then the research and also the companies are more focused on the utilities. Then it comes to these kind of vertical agents that are built for specific functionalities. Agents for specifically building slides, agents for developers, agents for UI designers, agents for accountants, agents for various different functionalities of professionals. So then the difficulties, or sometimes people call it technical mode, is understanding your user behaviors of the end user. How are they going to use it? What is their everyday process of using the tool? How can we seamlessly integrate this AI agents into their workflows? How to increase adoptions? How to make them feel willing to adopt, right? All these HCI related questions, and how this can related to the ROIs of an enterprise, basically return on investment. If very similar to what Bob talked about, we spend so much money, what is the outcome? Do we actually generate more revenue based on the AI agents we deployed, right? All this is a very interesting application side that people are looking into. So I'm going to play a video of one of the agents that we built together with Walmart. So Walmart is one of the biggest retailer in the world, and they also have an e-commerce presence. More and more people are actually buying things online. So this is their application. So if you download their app on the phone, you'll see this interesting AI agent called Sparky that is responsible for making purchases, like answering questions as well. So Sparky, Amazon also has another one called a Rufus. So you could ask questions about specific things. For example, once you logged in, he understands your name. He proactively asks you what can they help for you. And then you say, I'm a college student looking for a small vacuum to lift. And then it will query information within its database, connecting to product reviews, so you get more understanding of each products. And then you can ask specific questions. For example, within the context, it knows the context resolvement. You're talking about vacuum cleaners, right? And then it also pulls in the catalogs from the database and changed it here for gives you 5 recommendations. And also, I want a cordless one, specifically, that will filter the catalogs and pick the one that actually fits your criteria. And I also proactively ask you questions as well. For example, for vacuum cleaners, they actually care about, there are differences between carpet and hardwood floor. They were based on the refinement of the metric. It could help you to get you a better or personalized recommendation. And also, people also has a conjecture here, like it's on hardwood floor, and I want it to be under $100. You can also do filtering based on $100, semantic understanding, and then based on that, you can also, I like that, or like second one, do resolvement, what is it considered to be second, or what is the first one. So this is one of the applications that people have seen as being very successful in retail environments. Many of the companies are trying to adopt similar cases. So this one is specifically for pre-sales. There are also ones that people have been building for returns, for cancel orders, and so on. In general, if you look at these, what we call consumer-facing agents, particularly we're looking in, there is one company, but the users of that company could be millions or billions. And then communicating with their users requires personalization. Everybody wants a chat GPT that's tailored to themselves, right? They don't want a general one. So how can we also connect to different tools to help you to make the entire purchase process or some of other processes that you would engage with the company in a much more easier way? So here comes into another one. It's talking. So let's see. Can we play the sound?
Hi, this is Jordan from iChase. How can I help you today?
Another application that we help.
Hi, Jordan. I'm looking for a credit card.
Was a bank.
Would you be able to recommend one for me?
So we don't work with Chase, but
Quick
we work
question.
with a different
What do you
bank.
typically spend most on?
This is just an example to make it easier.
Mostly travel and some food delivery.
Got it. I'd recommend the Emerald Preferred. It's great for travel. You'll earn 5x points on travel booked through iChase Travel. Would you like to apply?
Yes, please.
Perfect. I've sent you a secure link via SMS. Just follow the steps. I'm here if you need anything.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's a second
Hi,
time.
Alex. Your Emerald Preferred card was approved. Congratulations.
Amazing.
Last time you mentioned you travel often. Just so you know, your points are super flexible. You can use them for flights, hotels, even transfer them to airline partners.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that actually.
I also see your card isn't activated yet. Want to take care of that now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Done. I just sent you a secure activation link via SMS.
Great, it's activated.
Excellent. Let me know anytime if you want help planning your next trip with your rewards. Have a great day.
So
Thank you.
You probably, if you're in the United States, you always get these kind of bank sending you these
Teenagers
kind of
are building businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
Let's be real, most people over 40 use.
It's a great advertisement for our sponsor at the right time. What we really see here is for banks, right? You get all these kind of letters that, oh, you're qualified for this card. But many people may apply and then got the card and forgot to activate them. Well, here AI is actively doing the calling to you instead. It's fine. Okay. Yeah. Actively launching the AI agent for you proactively to actually to give you sort of follow through and make sure that you activate it. For it also can put different tools within the orchestration. You can actually reply in text messages. You can call and actually and at the same time operate on your cell phone to activate the card. For example, based on compliance, the agent cannot activate the card on behalf of you, but you can make this process a little bit easier for you. So there is more conversion rates in the end of the day. So there are a lot of applications that people are brainstorming within their own industry, within their company. But the problem is most of these things are actually a POC, a proof of concept. It's not actually developed or in a way that is scalably deployed. Everybody is great to build a prototype, and everybody is very happy to see the happy pass. But people don't know to make every pass work, it takes at least 50 times of the effort of building a demo, right? And talk about like mission critical actions, for example, bankings or insurance are these very important cases that you require very reliable practice. So one of the biggest bottleneck, or probably if you talk to a person who built an agent before, the bottleneck is always on testing and evaluation. How do I test an agent? How do I verify that it's not making the hallucination, or it's not making the bad tool calls, and so on? And how can I be confidently deploy this agent in a scalable way so millions of people can use it at the same time? What if I have scalable traffic during maybe Black Friday, but during the other times I don't have that much traffic? Is that a way that I can actually scale it up and scale it down in a serverless way, right? So there's all these kind of questions that we don't know what's the answer. One of the things that we looked into is what we call customer-facing agent user simulation. So you've seen all these great use cases, but this is just one person interacting with one agent at one time. So right now, large language models has a lot of problems in terms of consistency across multiple times, right? So previously, how we are testing language models, or when we're testing any machine learning algorithm, is that we create a static benchmark. This is the training task data, this is the testing data, this is the evaluation, this is the validation data, and there's the testing data. So a lot of times it's single turn, which means this is the input and this is output. But when we have this kind of ChatGPT type of multi-turn, multi-round conversations, if the agent says something different, the user is going to ask a different question, right? So you can't just test on single turn. You have to look at the entire context of the history in order to evaluate. And sometimes it's like on this laptop, it's different on that server, right? Because the environment also changes when it has complex coding agents as well. So the environment is important. The benchmark cannot be static anymore. You can't just do single turn evaluations. So all these previous evaluation of software testing skills are no longer applicable in Gen AI applications these days. So it basically requires a new type of best practice for these testing, verification, and evaluation. So one thing that we designed is we could simulate the entire process. We could simulate the user. We could simulate the environment and use that as a sandbox to test or battle test or do validation test or regression test for these agents, which requires mission critical compliance. So for example, we can use natural language to describe what the user would look like, what kind of goals they would have, what kind of evaluations are critical for these individual user-centered. And then we wanted to build this user also like an agent, so it can dynamically interact with the agent of your choice to test and validate automatically of your agents. And also, because we have to condition on the knowledge, the environment of your agent in order for the user to be able to actually handle things. For example, we have to simulate a database. For example, in e-commerce, if you bought something, I need to know the tracking number. If I say, like, I wanted to return this, and you tell me, oh, it is a return, how would I know if I don't have databases if this thing actually returned or not, right? So if people telling you it's returned doesn't mean that it actually is processed within the system. Doesn't mean the database actually changed. Doesn't mean the API is actually communicated. So this is one of the things we built. You could look at, for example, let's take a very concrete example of e-commerce, like what we built with Walmart. You wanted to build a profile that based on what the task is. For example, this is a personal recommendation, product question answering based agent. And then what kind of attributes of your users would actually matter. For e-commerce, usually the attributes are, have you purchased similar items before? What's your previous purchase process? How big of your household? Which zip code are you? Right? These are attributes and e-commerce would really care. But for other use cases, you would actually select different attributes of the human beings that are important to capture and important to diversify and validate. And then we generate a profile, and then you generate a user, and then the user can interact with the agent multiple rounds to simulate the entire process of the discovery of a product, purchase of a product, or return of a product. And then here, let's say, take a use case of a e-commerce agent. So for example, you would have to fill a form, but we can't start with something from nothing, right? So you need to tell me what your agent is doing. It's representing this company called ABC Electronics. It's an online retailer, specialized consumer electronics. And then what are the customer needs, which are the agent capability? The agent that you build for this particular company, what can it do? It basically, for example, it can handle inquiries type, like for example, do you sell tablets? It can do product details. Does your tablet use Windows system? Product recommendations, what phone would work for my 70-year-old dad? right? Order tracking, can you check my status? So these are capabilities an agent would usually have for e-commerce domain. And then does the agent actually also have inherent goals? It's not only catering for the user's needs, but sometimes they also carry their own needs. For example, for promotions, I want you to subscribe to my newsletter. I want you to be able to get the information about our recent promotions and so on. And then do you have additional tasks, particularly when I design? So, and after that, what you would see is, where is my, one of the slides was deleted. But anyway, so what it'll look like, it will generate one conversations with simulated conversations. And then based on that conversations of multiple rounds with a user and a human, you can actually look into, based on the LLM as judge, sometimes you could also upload your own evaluator. You could look into, for example, how much the customer needs are completed, how much customers like a completion efficiency is, and then what are the call to action completion rate. So here, for example, we have a particular use cases that people find for return. So originally, if this conversation on the left to say, I want to return my order. And the agent says, sorry, there's nothing to return, right? And then definitely if you say, sorry, there's nothing to return, and some errors there. So one of the errors that we could look into is that there's no valid order that is within return period. So this is really created because of the original design of the conversational flow. So for example, if you look at the on the left, it says return order. If we detected the user request a return, we'll call return order. If we detect a cancel order, you would call. But the problem is like there is no valid order to return. Well, the correct things that the AI could help you to correct is over on the right side. Because as a user, you don't have the visibility of your internal databases. If a certain order wasn't able to return, you can actually cancel it because it wasn't shipped, right? But the user would never know. But user is basically the god. You wanted to make sure that he's happy. So if you change it to the conversation on the right in terms of graphs, you say, whenever people ask for check orders, you wanted to look into if the status is fulfilled or not. If it's unfulfilled, we go into cancel order. Otherwise, we still go to return order. And then for that particular cases, now we can actually automatically say, I saw that your order wasn't shipped. Do you want it to actually cancel it? And then you either say, oh, yeah, sure. Then you resolved one of the biggest problems that here we call like return issues. So the user simulator is a way to help you to do all these kind of multi-turn environment-related simulations to find these errors and help you to debug it and fix these errors ahead of time. So that you, when it comes to mission-critical tasks, you wouldn't run into these errors. Okay. I will probably just stop here and take more questions. Yes, there are a couple.
Hey, so I think that YouTube ad was a really good thing that came in because that's something explained that young generation is starting to earn money using AI. So as we do know, not only young generation started to earn from AI, but also big enterprises are starting to use AI in order to be more efficient. So I see that point is, for example, creating all these modules. And after some time, we understand that we will make particular enterprises or businesses more efficient. But how do you think, how they can compete in this world, even they train the models to be effective, how they can make them unique in order to be the best in the market? So that's the first question.
I would guess like coming back to my scenarios, right? You can't compete with OpenAI or Anthropic at the moment anymore because it's very capital intensive area now to build a bigger and better models.
Yep, absolutely. Just I mentioned about, for example, you solve some customer problems where they can answer based on the context you embed in the database, and they can take, for example, K-relevant answers and generate an answer and give it to you. So company A uses the same model. Company B uses part of the same module, how they can make it unique so the customers can choose particular company as a, for example,
So
to buy
again, I would recommend, like, think about when you're building applications, you're looking at the AI agent vertical application areas, right? There are still a lot of startup opportunities in terms of can you actually make a specific applications that would cater for a specific group of people. And then, of course, for big enterprises, because they have the data, they have the infrastructure, they also have the channel for distribution. So for them, they were internally built. But at the same time, there are also various opportunities for developer tools because people wanted to build agents faster, right? So there are opportunities in terms of making tools to support them to build things faster.
Yep. And the second question it will be, as in the YouTube ad, how you think that, for example, one particular idea or problem that isn't solved came in, and as a young entrepreneur or person who knows the solution, and you create the solution and you enter the market the first time and you solve the problem, would it last for a long time, or some competitive just can come in and beat you out of the market
I think
as
like
well?
one of the advantage of the young generation is you actually know your generation the best, right? You can build the product that actually suits them best. So one of the Columbia undergrads started a company called cli.u.icpc, was doing a very massive marketing gimmick all over. So as a professor, like a 30-year-old people, we would never do this, right? It's a way, I think, like right now, people call it attention market, right? Attention marketing, which I think it's a very interesting process of how this sort of progressed over time. I think like for young generations, building things that are prosumer or consumer facing actually might be a little bit even easier because you know how how these things would work for your generation, and particularly it doesn't really require a lot of heavy assets to get started.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I have one question in the. Yeah, Christian and I talk all the time.
So probably don't have to make it narrowing down, but I have maybe some question regarding Bill's remark earlier today. So he was talking about like authentic and or authenticity, and also maybe like validating the agents being actually real versus not. In the context of the ArcFlex AI, do we care about that question, or how do you respond to that remark, basically? Yeah.
I think like for us in ArcFlex, we're a developer tool. We want to be a tool that was suitable for whatever criteria or compliance of the developers want to put it in. So it's more a way that you can train, and we give you a better process to train your model for evaluations.
Thank you.
So in order to validate that the agents are behaving like a human would, you have these simulated humans that are simulated users that are interacting with it. But aren't you now just creating a recursive problem? Like, how do you know that those simulated users are acting like a human?
Yes. So we start with collected data. So we have a bank of digital humans. So we actually collected a lot of data with digital humans and created a bank. And then we use algorithms to actually make the sparse distribution more dense. And then whenever it comes into a specific use cases, we'll figure out, do we have existing real data over a similar company that have the similar use cases? And we start from there and then combine with our digital human to select that is closer to this company and with a little bit different distributions of the user attributes plus agent capabilities. And then we basically morph them. So it's part of some real data plus the algorithm to make it a more high fidelity. So one good thing is once that you started to deploy, usually people like to deploy it in an iterative manner. So you start from product question and answer, and then you advance into personalized recommendation. So during the process, you will collect more data, and then you can also feed into the algorithm to make it more authentic. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.